This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hello and welcome to the iRacing Esports Network and the BSR MX5 Pro Series presented by Apex Racing TV. We're just getting up for race 1 out of 4 today. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me this evening is Tyler Maxson. Jason Cooper is on pole position for this race 1. He was fastest in qualifying. Then it's Nick McKern, Ashley Beard, Matthew Emery, Steve Hefford, Niles Carstensen, Ben Mears, Kip Stevens, Adam McNally and Jamie Ayres rounding up the top 10. You can see we are here at Zolder this evening. It is the alternate layout for anyone who's not fully aware. That is the last chicane. It's a bit different. It's a little bit more kind of straight liney and it's a bit faster. Potentially a few incidents could occur around this place. Quite a narrow circuit here in Belgium. And just waiting for the final few drivers to get on the grid. Of course, like I said earlier on, 4 races today, each one 15 minutes. I'm hoping that you'll stick with us throughout because we should be in for a day of action-packed racing. We'll mention the championship later on. It's still looking rather close in both the Pro and the AM. But for now, we're going to pay our attentions to race 1. So it's Jason Cooper who's on the pole position. Nick McKern alongside him. Race 1 at Zolder is underway.
Jason Cooper gets off to an amazing start there. He's not going to get jumped by Nick McCarron, but you can just see how many cars there are here. This track really struggling a little bit there. It's so many cars on one tight little circuit. As there we go, Steve Hefford goes around, and that's a few drivers around. I don't know quite who that was. That's a few drivers backwards. But Craig Cameron, it looks to be backwards possibly. There's a few drivers around, and that is also, there's a lot of drivers out here on lap number 1.
Yeah, quite a few, and a few of the front runners as well. So big change up. I think the leader out of the AM drivers as well was also got caught up in that one. I think Matthew Emery with a very poor start. Leader out of those drivers, but yeah, he drops way down the order now. We could have some issues. Anyone who saw the Apex Racing TV broadcast yesterday was seeing some issues down into this next chicane, ever so tight with the curbs stacking up on either side of the circuit. So far, we seem to have got through okay. Jason Mitchell just running a little bit wide, but apart from that, nicely done from the majority of the drivers, even though it was pretty bunched up near the back of the pack. Still Cooper then leading the way ahead of McKern and Beard. Carlson up a couple of places despite almost getting caught up in that spin. And Jamie Ayres up 5 places up into 5th position. Big Hunt on top of the Amdras, he's up 11.
Yeah, just as you see here, Jason Cooper, though, doing an amazing job to get away off the line there. He's now 1 second ahead of Nick McCarron, who just leads by 0.2 of a second over Ashley Beard. So it is Swift Cooper Esports, SimLab, Excite Energy, iRacing, and then Swift Cooper Esports and SimLab then. So SimLab and Swift Cooper doing pretty good here in the first part of this race. We'll see if anyone starts to slice and dice as they head through and start lap number 2. But just like I said, Jason Cooper leading by 1.1 seconds now over Nick McCarron. He is definitely had a nice lead off the start.
Yes, definitely. That's a superb start from him. Issue for Brian Holmes, just losing a few positions. And yeah, so he's still losing positions then. So Brian Holmes with a big issue, maybe coming into the pits or something. But yeah, disappointing for him. I don't think he got caught up in the lap 1 issue, but since then really gone tumbling down. Here's Stuart Dick then, racing with Joseph Mitchell. Dick got past, I think, around this part of the circuit on the last lap, and he's desperately trying to keep these drivers behind at the moment. He's got a big queue of drivers with also Emery and Rizzo. I think Emery's going to try to make that move. And he does it so. So, yeah, start under pressure though from the driver just behind Emery. He had a very poor start after her terrific qualifying for the amateur driver. But keep behind Rizzo's up 19 places so far. Rizzo will try to go around the outside in this second chicane, but just not enough speed through that first part of the corner.
Yeah, Rizzo there, you can also see just a little bit off and into the grass there on the exit of the chicane. It is definitely not the easiest chicane to deal with. It's very, very easy to lose the rear end out of it. Then we head down into this tight hairpin, and I think that's Al Amri looking to the inside. He gets a shove there by Graham Sessford behind in the year 1 racing car. Dale Bennison as well, and I believe that is a couple drivers. Star Hendy was also the one able to get by his teammate of Sessford there. But let's jump back to the battle for second place right now. Carsonson into the back of Ashley Beard. Beard recovers it nicely, but that was almost a big incident through turn number 1.
Yeah, they've just lost a little bit of time to McCann, about half a second away. McCann on that last lap, the fastest driver out on circuit. They all gained a little bit of time on car number 1, position number 1, Jason Cooper. But certainly a 4-way battle seemingly at the moment. Here's Kip Stevens, going to get past Charlie Stones. Issue 4, Adam Delmonts down the field. So he's gone tumbling down the order. We'll try to catch replay of that later on, probably after the race. Here's Dale Bennison then, battling with Craig Cameron and also Joe McDonald. Lots of off tracks being picked up by these drivers. You can see them running off into the gravel, trying to gain every little bit of time that they can. They will get disqualified if they get 20 instants. As issue there, Ray Cullinan making a move, getting past Charlie Summers. Holding back Summers. So it's actually Cullinan struggling a little bit. Stevens not with a terrific exit there, failing to really put up too much pressure. Issue for Joseph Mitchell. Now he's off the circuit and falling down the order.
Yes, I'll try to queue up what happened there. We'll kind of get a replay of that one just at the end of the race. We'll kind of go through some of the in-race action that we've had here. And we always seem to have action. This circuit definitely promotes a lot of battling and a lot of different things to happen. There is so much that can go wrong at this track, and I think that the slowdown penalties are what can really hurt you. I think that Martin Plowman there has a slowdown penalty. He's definitely slowing quite hard. If you go a little bit too much on the inside of that first hairpin, you can really make that a slowdown. But now Charlie Summers going down the inside of Cullen and down into turn number 1, and he's for sure got that move done. It's so easy to make that move going through turn number 1, especially if you have the run down the straightaway. There's really nothing that they can do to hang it around the outside. Jason Cooper right now still out in the lead. He's up to 1.4 seconds the advantage, almost 1.5 second advantage here. He is doing an amazing job to hang on to this lead, and he's got Ashley Beard in second, Niels Carstensen about half a second behind him in third.
Yeah, Nick McCann lost 2 positions on that lap, was running in second place, but has dropped a couple of places, so Beard and Carstensen getting past him. So disappointed up there for Nick McCann, and you could see just before how he was quite far behind his rivals. Car number 86 there, Martin Plowman, again with a slowdown seemingly, or maybe he's got something more of an issue, because we saw him slow at the end of the last lap, and he just seems really painfully slowed down each of these straights, and he's continually losing positions. Cesar Rizzo will keep hold of that position. He's currently battling with Max Bohr, Matthew Emery, who he was fighting with earlier on, just pulling away ahead of these guys. But Rizzo, after a terrific start, 21 places gained, he doesn't seem to be the fastest driver out there. He has got quite a lot of damage on that car. and into the hairpin. He's vulnerable again, but credit to him, the car number 47. Good racecraft at the moment, and this could be a very good result for him.
Keep an eye on this, though. Ashley Beard is closing the gap to Jason Cooper. We're 6 minutes, just about 7 minutes now through race number 1, and there we go. Beard has gone fastest at 140.283. That's 0.6 of a second faster than Jason Cooper ahead, and now the gap is down to 0.9 of a second, just at about a second advantage now. Cooper has over Beard, and he is really gaining as Ashley Beard.
Yes, a couple of fastest laps of the race. He's been faster than the race even in the last 2 laps, but like you said on that lap, absolutely storming along there is Ashley Beard. Niles Carlson trying to keep up, but I think it's going to be probably a two-way battle unless they start fighting out in the lead. You can see the top 10 really spread out quite a bit, as the rest of the field does too, as the race goes on. But you can see a little bit further down, we got 3 wides. And that would have been very ambitious had the car on the inside there not just backed out of it. That was Charles Kellyman doing the wise thing there of staying out of it. Sorry, Dale Benison, apologies. Stephen Baxter just at the head of this straight, and you can see these drivers so reluctant to go for a move into the chicane, because you know that if you're going to go for that, then you're putting yourself under big pressure from a crash or after the race. Penalty, of course. McRitchie. Now battling Graham. McRitchie's got the inside line, and Graham, well, keeping his nose in there. McRitchie gives him a lot of space, credit to him, but he gets that one.
James McRitchie is now up 15 spots. Rob Graham is up 19. So these drivers really moving up. I think that is due to that big incident. The drivers that were able to get through that incident were actually able to benefit quite severely from it, because now you can see there Cesar Rizzo is up in the 13th spot with 20 spots of his starting position. So he's done an amazing job so far. And that is really the key here, though, is to stay clean in these first few laps of the race, because if not, then you kind of have to hope that the reverse grid goes your way, because if it doesn't, then you are a long way back for race 2 here tonight, considering that we have 48 cars on the grid. That is a lot of spots to make up if you want to get back to the front.
Yes, and it can often take you an entire evening just to gradually gain those positions race after race. And yeah, like you said, if you're not involved in the reverse grid, then you're in big trouble. Right in the thick of the action at the moment is Dale Benison. He's holding back Charles Kellyman. This is for some pretty lofty positions in the AM drivers. Also, McRitchie still going at battle with Graham. Graham not giving up that one. And still Dave Hampson as well, right on the tail of these guys. Also 37 and 67 just ahead. Dale Benison under pressure from Charles Kellyman.
There we go. Also Christian Brown as well, getting by Joe McDonald. So we're seeing a lot of battles here in this midfield. Rob Graham is really close. They're actually side by side as McRitchie and Graham. McRitchie's on the outside. Graham is on the inside. He's actually going to make a double overtake there down the inside of McDonald. McDonald has to cut the chicane. That's going to be a slowdown for sure for McDonald. If it's not, I would be extremely surprised there. But Graham really sent it down the inside and just got into the side of McDonald just a little bit there, which caused him to cut the chicane. Hopefully not a slowdown there for Joe McDonald, because he really was kind of the innocent bystander in that, but he is not slowing down, so it looks like he has gotten away with that one. But Rob Graham is really aggressive here in race 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he wanted to go for the double overtake, but see, he got at least one of them, and like I said, very nearly 2 of them in the end. Stuart Dick, this battle kind of renewing. Dick is 3.5 seconds behind Summers, but Cullinan and Stevens catching up. Cullinan looking like he's going to finish top of the AM drivers. He's not really particularly close to the top of the AM drivers in the Drivers' Championship. So these points would really be very useful for him. Al Amri is currently 3rd place in that category with Matthew Emery, who started on pole out of the AM drivers, currently in 2nd place. Good opportunity for Cullinan to take some points. So he doesn't want to get involved in a crash. That was a back marker spinning. That was not the race leader. The race leader still going about his way. Jason Cooper, who was just 1/10 of a second slower than Ashley Beard on the last lap. So he's just about managing this one at the moment, isn't he, Tyler? He's just, it must be frustrating for Beard, because he desperately wants to get that gap below half a second, but he just can't quite get in the slipstream at the moment.
He just can't quite get into the slipstream, and really you start feeling the slipstream effects at about 7/10 of a second back, but half a second, like you said, is where you really start feeling the effects of the slipstream, and then at that point, he is really quite automated. He's down to 8/10 of a second, so he will gain a little bit down this straightaway, but it won't be much, maybe a few hundredths of a second, and there you go. You can see he's gained just about a tenth so far down this front straightaway, but a tenth of a second is a lot in these MX5s. And we're working on 12 minutes to go, so we should be getting the white flag in just about 2 laps time here.
Yeah, so not too much longer for Jason Cooper to hold out. He's fighting for the championship with Jack Ashton, who doesn't seem to be here today. So an awesome opportunity for him to extend his championship lead. Here is Stevens trying to get past Cullinan. Cullinan bring up a good resistance. They've dropped off the back of Dick. And now Emery and Bohr gets involved. Emery was so quick in qualifying, so expect him to be very close to these guys. Also got Hendy battling with a couple of other drivers. Carstensen back under pressure from Ayres. Look at Ayres, he's absolutely storming along now.
Yeah, Jamie Ayres really storming along. He's actually going to try down the inside. It will be the inside now for this quick chicane. We'll jump back to your battle for the lead here in just a moment, but Jamie Ayres able to make up that move on Niels Carstensen. Carstensen tries the overcut, but it is to no avail as Jamie Ayres is sideways and almost into the wall. I would honestly like to know how he didn't hit the wall there.
That was quite incredible from Ayres, really hanging the back end out. And now it's going to be his teammate instead. Nick McKerney's going to go on the hunt for a podium. These guys are really closing in now, so they were fighting with one another, and it's fighting Emery. After getting super unlucky on the first corner, Emery, he's had a terrific comeback. And here he goes past Kip Stevens. No, he can't, sorry. And he stays behind Stevens instead. Still battle for the podium up for grabs. McKern didn't quite nail the exit of the final corner. He's not going to be in range for this very wide turn in at turn 1. He's going to have to wait probably till well, later on in this lap. I think that's all the time he's going to get.
And that's Al Lamry off. So he has had some sort of incident. He's losing a lot of spots here. There we go. We can jump just back to this battle here. Kip Stevens is trying to round the outside. They're going to be 3 wide now. Cullinan sticks it down the middle, and it's not going to be to any avail. And Matthew Emery is going to get tagged there by Kip Stevens, and that is also going to be Ralph Cullinan into that one just as well, but he is going to take the lead of the AM race here. Matthew Emery is just now getting rolling again. That's so unfortunate for him. Just barely got tagged by Kip Stevens, and it's so easy to do whenever you're the driver on the inside. It doesn't look to be as well, though it was intentional. But it definitely did happen there. Look at that. Jason Cooper, he's starting to lose the lead a little bit here. Ashley Beard is closing.
Yeah, he didn't make much of an impression on the last lap, did Beard. I think he's going to run out of time, unfortunately, to make the move. He's still 6.5 tenths of a second behind. In reality, it doesn't make that much of a difference in the points, but certainly for pride, these drivers want as much as they possibly can, and in the team's championship, Excite and Swift Cooper are quite close. Beard is getting closer. He gained about a quarter of a second just round that tight left-hander, but out in the lead, Jason Cooper. It looks like he's going to do enough to extend his championship lead. Car number 1 approaches the line. He's going to finish number 1. He wins race 1 at Zolder, and that was a big victory for him. For the final podium place, looks like it's going to be Adam McNally. Sorry, no, Niels Carstensen, apologies, has already crossed the line. McNally, though, will finish in 6th position, just about beating Summers. I was thinking, incredible fast final lap there from Adam McNally to get up into 3rd position, but it wasn't quite that case. Cullinan will finish top of the AM drivers. Emery will still finish 2nd place out of the AM drivers, so that's a decent recovery after 2 spins for him. I don't think either of them were his mistake. And now the rest of these drivers just crossing the line as well. Dave Hampson having a bit of an issue right at the end. Just dropping a couple of places. Jurgen Ursum, he's currently leader of the AM drivers, having a bit of a mare in that race 1. But yeah, he'll cross the line in 33rd position. So, 31st position, apologies.
Yeah, and he was 13th out of the AM drivers there, so he is quite a ways down the order. Andy Maxwell and Mikey Key Mikey Key there with a lot of damage. They're both actually with a lot of damage. They all are going to cross the line. And we will go ahead, and as soon as race results are available for us, we'll get those up on our screens, and we will get the reverse grid wheel rolling, and we'll see how the reverse grid is going to shake up the results. Wouter van Essen, the last driver to cross the line, and the results are now up on your screen now.
Yes, so it's Jason Cooper winning once again. 1/10 of a second clear of Ashley Beard, maybe one more lap. Beard could have had the edge. Niles Gunston, good defensive driving there. He was a long way off the top two, but still a solid podium for him. Nick McKern finished in 4th place. There's Jamie Ayres in 5th. Anna McNally, 6th. There's Charlie Summers, Stuart Dick, Kip Stevens, Max Bohr, and Rick Carter rounding out the top 11. There's Adrian Hendy, Steve Baxter, Matthew Emery, Craig Cameron, Graham Sesford, Charles Kellyman, Christian Brown, Joe McDonald, Rob Graham, Ben Mears, James McRitchie, David Hampson, Dale Bennison, Billy Rose, Adam Delmont, Carl Hardy, Scott Malcolm, Ben Sharp, Mick Barry, Ewan Ursum, Luke Cooper, Abel Keir, Alf Amory, Steve Hansford, Craig Jones, Cesar Rizzo, Josh Rayfield, Joe Mitchell, Mikey Key, Andy Maxwell, and then one lap down was Wouter van Essen. Van Essen will be the last driver eligible for the reverse grid. The retirees were Martin Plowman, Steve Hefford, Pete Van Gool, Brian Holmes, Steve Cooley, Carl Yacolet, and Liam Silkston. And so, time for the reverse grid, Tyler. Like I said, Wouter van Essen, last of the eligible drivers, he starts in 41st position. So anything more than 41, we will have a full reverse grid.
So let's go ahead and spin the reverse grid wheel, and let's see where the drivers are going to stack up for race number 2, sorry. And it is going to be a -2, so we're going to get a -2 on the reverse grid wheel. Let's see where that's going to put the drivers.
So that'll be Mikey Key then on pole position. Unfortunate for Andy Maxwell, he just misses out. So it'll be Michael Key and then Joe Mitchell alongside him on the front row of the grid. Josh Rayfield and Cesar Rizzo starting on the second row. Also, Luke Cooper starting quite far up there. He's in the top 10 certainly, so could be a dark horse for that race. Tyler, do we have some race replays we can perhaps go through to maybe clear up some of the action that was going on amongst the field?
Let's do that, actually. So let's get, I'm going to try to get queued up what happened here to Adam Delmont and see if we can queue this up here. The session, oh, here we go. Let's see what happened to Adam Delmont. Ooh, so I think that was one of the Fury SimSport drivers. I think that was Ben Sharp, and that was what sent Adam Delmont out of the running here. Steve Hansford has supposedly had a crash. Let's see what happened with Hansford. Don't believe that was to anything. I think that was just the left timing software kind of gets crashed here. Let's see what happened to Martin Plowman. I know that he did actually DNF this race, so this may have been what happened to him that caused him to DNF. So let's see if we can figure out what happened here with him.
Yeah, at the moment going okay for him, but all of a sudden going a little bit slowed down this straight. And yeah, maybe Parman having some issues later on in the race, but you can certainly see from straight away from this replay, you can see he was really struggling, maybe with a little bit of damage previously or some hardware issues in real life.
Yeah, because I'm kind of trying to see what happened with him. That caused him to have that incident, and I'm not seeing anything. So appears that you just have some hardware issues. Super unfortunate for him though. to have those issues here, and he won't be able to benefit from the reverse grid, and he will have to start from way down the grid order. I believe he'll start in 42nd place for race number 2. He has 3 races left to make up that time before he has to, race 4 is completed. So we still have 3 more races left to go. And race 2 should be coming up momentarily here on the iRacing Esports Network and on Apex Racing TV.
To the front bumper, and he hits him again now. And Alfala into the outside wall.
It's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lead to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Trunkett goes off. De Jong in second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's Howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schubert, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
40 of the best sim racers. $100,000 on the line. Who will rise to the challenge? This is the most competitive and sought-after season in iRacing World Championship history. This is where legends are made. This is the Porsche Esports Super Cup.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you cut them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaw.
Gotta love this time of year. Only one can be champion. Let's go playoff racing. I say to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
Gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Racely to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Trunkgate goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact. He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. MX5, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Of the best sim racers, $100,000 on the line. Who will rise to the challenge? This is the most competitive and sought-after season in iRacing World Championship history. This is where legends are made. This is the Porsche Esports Super Cup.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got him 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show under the world of outlaw.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network. We're just griding up for race 4 of the BSR MX5 Pro Series presented by Apex Racing TV. Jamie Ayres is on pole position with Dave Hampson in second place. Nars Carlson starts in third with Peter Van Gool in fourth place. Those drivers are the top pro drivers, and then it's Carl Hardy, Stephen Cooley, Jay McDonald, Joseph Mitchell, James McCritchie, and Abulkir Al-Amri round out the top 10. BSR drivers just making their way onto the grid as we speak, and we're just a few moments away from starting this race 4. As you can see, it is night. I didn't realise to point that one out. It's Jamie Ayres from the pole then. Race 4, SimLab 1-2. Away we go, and Ayres with a really good start as we've seen the pole sitters get all day long. Hampson trying to maintain that second place. I think he'll be able to against Nars Carlson going into turn 1. So it's still a SimLab 1-2 out in the lead. Peter Van Gool getting ahead of Carlson, who's dropping down the order. An awful turn 1 for Carlson in race 1, and it's another awful turn 1. We've seen a few drivers in fact round. I'll try to go through them at the end of this opening lap, but Max Bohr and Andrew Maxwell were certainly involved in that one as well. Carl Hardy and Joe McDonald also with very poor starts out there. But out in lead is Ayres leading Hampson. Van Gool is in third position. Great start from Michael Barry, up 5 places. Already Brian Holmes up into 15, up 11 places so far.
Yes, he's had a nice start there. There was a few drivers around. It was started by Carstensen. He spun around there at the beginning. Then they all get into the chicane, and they're just 4 wide there for just a second, I think. That would definitely not end too well for you. There's one of the drivers around. I'm not quite sure who that was. And we can see a lot of drivers moving up a lot of positions here off the line. And, Jason Cooper up already 10 spots, 9 spots now, as he dives it down the inside of Rob Graham, who's also had an amazing start. So a lot of the drivers now really starting to move up, and that is Billy Rose around. He spun around somewhere. Billy Rose is off and on the inside of the track there. Mr. Al-Amri is getting pushed out just a little bit, and that is Joseph Mitchell able to slot himself up. Dave Hampson, though, leads by 1.1 seconds over Peter Van Gool, who then has a 1.2 second lead back to Jamie Ayers, who leads this train of 4 cars. It's Ayers, McRitchie, Cooley, Mitchell, and Al Lamry. That is your top 7 there, and the 5 cars in that battle. Then they have 3 seconds back to Liam Silkston, and I think that is McElberry. Scott Malcolm is now all the way down. Scott Malcolm's actually on the outside, sorry. There's someone getting hit there. It was the number 54 of, number 57, sorry, of Steve Hansford, an optical racing car. Brian Holmes all the way on the inside, and Hansford gets tagged. He's around. Hansford is around. Hopefully he doesn't get hit there by any of the drivers as they're out of the race.
Well, to get your cameras out because it's the same lab 1, 2, 3. No offense to that team, but we don't usually see this as we've had an impact there between one of the Excites Racing drivers. Not sure who that was. Maybe Adam I think it was Adam Delmont. I think it was maybe it was another team who got involved in that one. But yeah, Adam Delmont falling down the order, making contact, although not too much damage. I think on that PT, a little bit of a scrumpled bonnet. But yeah, issues for a few of the drivers down the field. But like I said, a Simlab 1, 2, 3, and some of the Swift Cooper Esports drivers and the Excite iRacing drivers, long way out of position after that big reverse grid we saw in from the race 3 results. Mikey Key in the depths of this, but you can see a terrific train of drivers currently. See, all swarm their way through halfway around this lap 2 of 8 laps in this final race of the evening. Al Amri's trying to make up the position. He's had a terrific start, had good pace all day long. In 5th position, just ahead of Steve Cooley, and he'll hold that position for now as well. But you can see he has got a little bit detached from the drivers ahead. Jamie Ayres towed back to the pit, so another awful race for Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie Ayres enters the pit lane. That's so unfortunate for him. That promotes Al Lamry up into 4th place. Steve Cooley will into 5th. There we go. There's Adam McNally making up another spot. We're seeing a battle here. Just trying to get this one. There we go. You can see there Adam McNally on the outside there. Stephen Baxter was on the inside. Baxter now going to look down the inside of Charles Kellyman. He doesn't commit to it, though. McNally will commit to it, and he will go by Stephen Baxter. They are going to be side by side in the exit, but Baxter's run will be hampered there by Charles Kellyman. And that will allow possibly McNally to get by both of them. Kellyman squeezes him hard, but he's not able to do it. And Holmes gets a little bit of a tap there. Or actually, McNally, sorry, gets a little bit of a tap there. Now, Ben Sharp, another driver able to try and move up some positions here. They're going to go 3 wide now through the chicane. That's not going to end well. Sharp gets hit, but he saves it nicely there. And he's now slots back into line.
Yeah, incredibly close racing there. And they managed to decipher the order after all of it. Also 3 wide into that next chicane as well. I think that's Rob Graham perhaps involved in that one. Off the circuit is Mikey Key. So unfortunate for the race 2 winner. He's had big issues down there, and also Graham Sesford, who I think got caught up in a race in a lap 1 incident as well, getting caught up. But Key, ever so disappointing. Good race 2 5, and a good race 3 actually as well. But since then has not gone his way by any means.
Definitely not. Jason Cooper though, already up into 18th place. Look at that recovery drive there from Jason Cooper. He's moved up so much, and Al Lamry looking there for a little bit of a move there. Steve Cooley actually was looking for him, sorry. It was Al Lamry who came out on top. Ralph Cullinan, another driver looking to make up some spots. He's made up currently 15 spots from the starting position, so he's done an amazing job there. His next on his order is Craig Jones. These drivers have really moved up a lot of spots here. Stephen Baxter, the biggest mover on the racetrack that I'm seeing so far at 22 spots gained. That is a lot of spots, and keep in mind, we are only 4 laps in.
Yeah, very little into this race, not even halfway up until this point. There are plenty of more opportunities for Baxter to make up some more pace. So Jazz, who should have really won race 3, of course, if it weren't for a mistake on the penultimate lap. Jason Cooper sitting behind currently Charles Kamen, who almost made a move on Ashley Beard. Cooper just with a little bit of a struggling exit there. He could be under pressure going into this next corner. Silkston also having to defend wide for one of the drivers just ahead as well. Scott Malcolm. He's having a terrific run, currently in the top 10. Had a little bit of a struggling day. In the top 10 currently is Malcolm, and he's doing well to hang on to that place at the moment. Also, Delmont making up a position, trying to get past Cesar Rizzo, who's been leading races 2 and 3, a long way from that at the moment. Delmont down the inside into the hairpin, and backs out of that one. So the Excite Racing driver struggling to make much progress after that big shunt earlier on.
Yeah, look at this battle right now. This is a big, big battle. Ben Sharp, he spins it here. Sharp is around, and that is a beautiful J-turn if I've ever seen one. And another driver who's going to gain from this one, it's going to be Jason Cooper. He's going to try to make the move now. He's just going to tuck in behind Kellyman. He's not going to be able to make the move. Beard will send it down the inside of Kellyman. Kellyman is actually going to hold it around the outside. Beard does a nice job to save a big, big slide there. Does Ashley Beard. And now it is Jason Cooper on the attack once again. He has moved up a lot of spots. I would definitely not count him out for a top 10 finish here at the end if he's able to just kind of have some luck go his way. But right now, it is Dave Hampson who leads over Peter Van and James McRitchie in third. And that is a SimLab 1-2 right now. So that is incredible for SimLab. They had, it's not usual that you have a team 1-2. They had a 1-2-3 going. I'm not quite sure what happened to that, but they have had some pretty good results here. And Ralph Cullinan now making a move here on Craig Jones. Jones, not too much he can do there to defend, so Jones will just slot back in and get in line, and that will be him up into ninth with Ralph Cullinan. That is the number 4.
Yes, so Cullinan 6 seconds behind the next driver of Brian Holmes, so not going to be making much of an impact there as we see side by side. Baxter continuing to make some moves. Malcolm drops outside the top 10 for the first time in fact, actually back inside in 16th place. So after a terrific start for Malcolm, drops out of the top 10 since lap 1. So disappointing a little bit for him, but could still be some good points for one of the front runners in the AM Championship. Of course, is Malcolm has won this championship in the past. You can see a long queue of drivers currently all circulating around the final chicane. A little bit slow for one of the drivers there. It may be Michael Barry, but yeah, either way, out in the front, still Hampson. Nearly 2 seconds ahead of Pete Van Gool. McRitchie can't quite get that move currently, and what Van Gool is doing is a good defensive job for his team. It looks so a SimLab driver is going to win as McNally balls off the circuit, trying to get past Malcolm. This is the battle for 11th and 12th places. Now it's going to be brave to go around the outside there because Malcolm probably has every right just to shove him off the circuit, but stays nice and tight as the Scotsman, and yeah, was very generous there of his rival. Ashley Beard also going ahead of Dean Stokes. You've got Barry and Kellyman, Cooper as well, all involved in this fight. Jason Cooper, the fastest probably out of these guys, but at the minute, at the tail of this one, going to get past one move. This will be Charles Kellyman around the outside as the inside for the chicane though, but Cooper a little bit hesitant of some of these moves, a little bit more forceful of that one, and just about without contact makes that move.
Yeah, I think that Jason Cooper hasn't been racing around these drivers. He doesn't know how they're going to react to him around him, so he does have to be a little bit more conservative. He doesn't want to get taken out. He knows that he needs to finish every one of these races to have a good points haul to be able to extend his lead in the championship. So he definitely needs to extend it, and I think that he's doing a good job of that right now, keeping it clean and getting himself most points possible. Rob Graham, another driver, he's moving up. He's currently 10th. He's right in the thick of this battle. He's down the inside of Martin Plowman as they head into the fast chicane. Plowman seemed to have some issues here. He's had the issues all the way through race 1, 2, and 3. He's really starting to make an advancement now. He's up 17 spots between 27th and 23rd. Craig Jones, though, is going to go by Stephen Baxter. Stephen Baxter is also going to get by, I believe that is Craig Jones, just going by Ralph Cullinan. Ended up getting by Baxter there. Baxter is your biggest mover right now, up 26 spots to 5th in the pro standings and 9th overall right now. But just as we were saying, Dave Hampson still leading by 2.1 seconds over Peter Van Gool. James McRitchie is in 3rd. And I think that was a mistake there from Van Gool, and that's exactly what McRitchie needed. McRitchie now looking down the inside, trying to make the move through the right-hander. He gets squeezed, but he will not not be able to make that move stick. And now Ralph Cullinan also looking for a move here on Steven Baxter. Baxter's made the move on Cullinan, and now Cullinan, actually, sorry, trying to make the move back on Baxter.
Yep, Cullinan currently fourth out of the club drivers. McRitchie now 0.2 of a second behind Van Gool. By the way, that's the battle for second place. Cullinan go for a move on Baxter here. I think Baxter should be able to pull away. I imagine Vic Cullinan, a very experienced driver, of course, in the BSR leagues, will probably realise that for result clothing and just stay behind, try to keep up with his rival, get dragged up to the drivers behind. And Van Gool just keeps on defending. They lost 1.5 seconds to the race leader on that last lap, so Hampson is well on course for a race victory here. As Cooper getting some nice momentum coming out of that corner, just building up the speed, and now to the inside of Scott Malcolm is for 13th place, and Malcolm is going to go off into the wall, and that was Liam Silkston giving him a tap, and I think Silkston was almost certainly feeling very guilty there after that one, just misjudging where the driver would break there, and into the back of him as McRitchie almost spinning around the car now. So these two absolutely fighting one another, and it's allowing Abulkir Al-Amri as well to catch up in fourth place.
Yeah, but it is the final lap of the race, so it is going to be a little too late there for Mr. Al-Amri. And that's someone else off into the wall. That's Ralph Cullinan. Cullinan is off and into the wall. I think he just has escaped that one, though, with barely any damage, luckily for him. But Peter Van Gool is really defending here from James McRitchie. He's going to have to make a move here through the final fast chicane if he wants a chance at it. Is McRitchie. If he just shows Van Gool the nose, then I think Van Gool is going to have to give it to him, as it's really hard to go side by side through there. I don't think that's going to be happening. Yeah, I don't think Van Gool's got it, but Hampson is going to cross the line here in race 4 to win in race number 4. Nice job from Dave Hampson to win this race. Peter Van Gool will come up second and make it a sim lap 1-2. James McRitchie third. Al-Amri in fourth. Steve Gooley will be fifth. Ryan Holmes in sixth. Joseph Mitchell in seventh. Stephen Baxter in eighth. Adam McNally in ninth. Craig Jones will round out your top 10 with Ashley Beard very close behind there. Those are three actually very, very close drivers. There are 25 places here for Jason Cooper to come up in 12th. Ralph Cullinan will be in 13th. Martin Plowman with a nice result there, up 26 spots. 28 spots up with Steve Hefford. Really, really nice shot from him to move up in the 15th place. Rob Graham will be 16th. Kip Stevens 17th. Steve Hansford and Graham Sessford. That would be your top 20 drivers here.
Yeah, just the rest of the drivers coming through. Mikey Key a little bit distant. He had a spin midway through, I believe, lap 3, which cost him quite significantly. So decent day for Key. Remember, one race 2. I think that might be his first ever win in this series as well. Of course, congratulations to Dave Hampson as well for winning race 4. And the Maxwell, yes, across the line. Remember, as long as these drivers finish 0 or 1 laps down, they do score points, which is ever so important, because the difference between getting, say, 40th position and getting and not finishing, getting no points, is quite a difference in the championship. So still quite important for these drivers to cross the line. There is Maxwell. He was the last driver to cross the line. And you can see we are right in the depths of the night now. It's 9:53 in sim on the 15th of May. So you can see, yeah, getting pretty dark here in the Belgian countryside. So the results of race 4: David Hampson wins out 2.8 seconds ahead of Pete Van Gool's rather comfortable in the end. Van Gool having a terrific battle with James McRitchie for second place. There's Abulkir Al-Amri, top of the AM drivers in fourth. Steve Cooley, a very impressive fifth. There's Brian Holmes, Joe Mitchell, Steve Baxter up 27 places, Adam McNally and Craig Jones. There's Ashley Beard, Jason Cooper up 25 places. Rafe Cullinan, Martin Plowman, Steve Hefford, Rob Graham, Kip Stevens, Steve Hansford, Christian Brown, Graham Sessford rounding out the top 20, and then it was Craig Cameron, Nick McCann, Luke Cooper, Scott Malcolm, Jeroen Ursum, Jamie Ayres, Adrian Hendy, Mikey Key, Andy Maxwell, and then one lap down were Liam Silkson, Michael Barry, Charles Kellyman, Wout van Essen, Max Bohr. So all those drivers will score points. But then the retirees, and there were quite a few of them, were Ben Sharp, Cesar Rizzo, Adam Delmont, Josh Rayfield, Matthew Emery, Stuart Dick, Billy Rose, Ben Mears, Joe McDonald, Niles Carstensen, and Carl Hardy. 45 drivers took the start, and that is all 45 of them, and that is well, the last results of the evening. Hopefully we'll get some interviews with some of the drivers. At the moment, unfortunately, we don't have any, so I'm going to frantically look to see where the next round of the championship is. And of course, we leave Belgium, I assume, for the next round of the championship.
I believe we head to Mid-Ohio.
Aha. Pretty good MX5 circuit once again, I'd say, Tyler. Kind of tight, twisty. I call it the oh, sorry, no, we don't go there. In fact, it's Nürburgring 24 hours. We were discussing this earlier on, weren't we, Tyler?
we
We're going
were.
to the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife circuit, and that's going to be a different affair, let's say. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen around that circuit?
That one right there is an absolute wild card. Anything can happen. Let's look at what happened again, though, here to Scott Malcolm. Let me try to cue this replay up. I think we can just miss this incident. Just have to try to find him here in the list, the long, long list of drivers here that took race tonight. So quite a bit of drivers here to file through. And as soon as I can get this up for you, we will show that replay.
Yeah, of course, Malcolm just getting the tap from behind going into turn one was a great disappointment for him after having a really good run at it earlier on. And it was Liam Silkson just behind him. There's Silkson in the yellow car, who was being overtaken by Jason Cooper and Silkson. Yeah. I mean, I don't think the stewards will think too kindly of that one. But absolutely disappointing for Scott Malcolm.
Yeah, that is just such a disappointing result there. Yeah, I kind of, you know, it's kind of a race against it. You know, they're both going for the same piece of road, and you know that never works out for us. So, no drivers currently in the interview room. So, I think that that is pretty much going to be it, unless any of the drivers need the invite to the Discord.
Yes, I think that's pretty much it for this evening's action. Of course, we will be back next week, and you do not want to miss it. Nürburgring, the full one, that's the GP and the Nordschleife molded together, and it should be a terrific amount of action around that circuit. Hopefully, you will not miss it. Of course, subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network as well. Plenty of other terrific series on the iRacing Esports Network in a range of categories, GTs and off-road, of course, World of Outlaws, and all sorts of series available on the iRacing Esports Network. And also, if you wouldn't mind, please visit our own channel, Apex Racing TV, for more very similar broadcasts to this. Several other BSR leagues we cover. And so if you like this one, do check out the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel, Facebook page, and also Twitch channel as well. But for now, from me and from Tyler, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.